Good morning, everybody. Graham Park here from Shooters Union. What an absolutely great couple of weeks it's been. Um, New South Wales election, uh, following an incredible campaign and display by Labor and by the Liberal and National parties of antagonism and lies against shooters. Obviously, they weren't trying to target us, the shooters, directly, I wonder. They said they were trying to just target the Shooters and Fishers party because they were scared of losing seats to them, which is what happened. But a massive scare campaign, absolutely massive, even rolling John Howard out of retirement and following a terrible tragedy in Christchurch. They rolled all this up and said, oh, it's going to be terrible if you vote for these people, do it. And what happened? The vote went up, and not just a little bit, way up. Three members of the lower house, two, I believe, in the upper house for Shooters and Fishers, and a brand new pro-gun upper house senator in New South Wales, David Leyonhjelm for the Liberal Democrats. Absolutely magnificent result. And also independents in general did well as people moved more away from the major parties they're so sick of. I think people are really waking up that the story's not selling anymore. The whole standard gun control scare tactics of yelling fire in a movie theater, which obviously if we're sitting there watching a movie quietly in the dark and someone yells fire, we're fearful and we're likely to get up and run out of the theater. And that's what happens. But once they do it a few times, we start to realize there's just some idiot yelling fire. And that's what's happened with all the gun control extremists and with the major parties. They've tried to roll this barrel out so many times that I think people realize there's far deeper causes to violence and related problems in society. So, I mean, we've had that absolutely fantastic win. And I think sometimes as shooters, we don't really look at the bigger picture and see this is a huge win. It really is. Is things going to change in New South Wales tomorrow? No, not at all. But what it's doing, it's a seismic shift of showing where the voting's going, and it's going towards common sense. And the Greens votes went down, not up. So what you're starting to see is a revision, regardless of what the media tells you, what you're starting to see is a real revision to common sense, which is like, yes, let's see some more of that. And now we've got a federal election announced. You get your chance to do it all over again and, not put the majors first. Pick a minor party, whether it's a Katters party or a Shooters and Fishers or One Nation or a Liberal Democrats or an independent that's supportive of your interests. Pick those and put them number one. If you still feel like, oh, I'd like a coalition government or I'd like a Labor, then put them number two. They'll get elected. They'll get more votes overall. But every time you do that, you're having a bit of fun because you're actually giving money to those minor parties and taking money away from the major parties because every first preference vote they get, it's different with different size elections and federal and state, but it'll be between $2 and $5 a vote that you give to a minor party and take away. And it's very healthy for democracy if you think about it. Let's give the minor parties a little bit of cash so they can do something, and let's take some away from these bloated major parties with huge organizations and think tanks and everything else. What else has been going on? Well, the great one, and this was worthy of Monty Python, is the mass media comes out, new report announces that gun lobby in Australia is as powerful and as well funded as the NRA is in the US. And I looked around, called the Shooters Union bank account and said, where's all the money? Because we don't have it and no one else does either. I mean, it was a ridiculous report and it's hard to believe any Australian journalist would publish it with a straight face. And they said, oh, this report was commissioned by or done up by and released by Gun Control Australia and GetUp. Oh, well, there's two totally unbiased organisations. Really? One whose desire is to just ban all guns. So guess what their report's going to say? Now, and it was information from the independent Australia Institute. And let's look at what they say about the Australia Institute because it sounds really credible. the Australian Institute is the country's most influential progressive think tank with no formal political or commercial ties. The Institute is in a position to maintain its independence while advancing a vision for a fair and progressive Australia. Oh, it warms our heart, doesn't it? Eh? Really? Now let's look to see what Andrew Bolt, the journalist, found out and printed in the Herald Sun. Excuse me for reading while I talk, but I want to get it accurate. Who is the Australia Institute? Well, let's look at its board of directors, shall we? Lynn Hatfield Dodds, who's the chair, former Greens candidate. Okay. Richard Dennis, executive director. Geraldine Kim Kearney, president of the Australian Council of Trade Unions. Ben Orcus, chief of staff. Senator Christine Milne. This senator, that sounds political to me. These people, Hugh Sadler, managing director, Energy Strategies Limited, sounds commercial. So wait a minute, they're telling us there's no political or commercial ties, but as soon as you look at it, you see political and commercial ties. So, and no expertise in our area either. Really, the report, even the mainstream media backed away from it after a couple of days because they realised it, the silliness of it. And really, I guess when in the media you hear guns, 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 what you know is an election's in the air, because they figure we're the one group you can still discriminate against. You can't discriminate against anything else. Imagine if any other group of Australians, let alone a couple of million of them. I mean, there's a couple of million people who use firearms around Australia. Imagine if any other group, let alone one of just a few 100,000, was actively and aggressively ostracised, discriminated against, and lied about in the media or by politicians. There'd be lawsuits, there'd be this, there'd be that. It'd be terrible. You know, we'd be protected like so many other groups. And the funny part of that is a lot of Australians have got a real sense of fair go. And you know what? They're pretty tired of it too. I think they get over it. Here's the reality. Having a firearms license in any state in Australia is the gold standard for you being a good citizen. Why? What do I mean by that? Statistically, people with firearms licenses are the least likely people to commit crimes. They've been vetted, background checked, everything else, and that license can be taken away very easily. These people, statistically, are the least likely to commit a crime. You're the most honourable, law-abiding part of society. You've had far more background checks than any member of Parliament, and that sadly they don't seem to have to need a safety test before they run for Parliament. They have a safety test on their mouth sometimes. But if what we've seen is over the last few years, you have an election, it's out it rolls again. You know, we need more gun laws. There's too many guns. Oh, how frightening it is. There's more guns now than there used to be. Well, there's more people now than there used to be. There's more cars now than there used to be. There's more lots of things than there used to be. You know, here's the thing. There's a lot more guns than there used to be. A lot more. And guess what? There's less crimes with guns than there used to be. How can that be? More guns, less crime. Who would have thought it? Sort of undermines their argument, you know, and then they say we should be fearful, there's more guns out there. And you go, wait a minute. For 30 years, the trends in homicides and firearm-related homicides in particular have been going down. Way before 96, by the way. 10 years before that. And that's happened in a number of Western countries, even the one they love to rave about, the United States. The homicide rates have been going down there for nearly 30 years and a half what they were. They've actually dropped probably a bit more than ours percentage-wise, because they had a lot more to go. And I'm not suggesting we have the same issues as they do. But it is interesting, this is not isolated to this country. They've gone down everywhere. They've gone down in New Zealand, gone down in Canada, they've gone down in most of the European countries, because legally owned firearms are not the problem. But we've got this tiny gun lobby extremist groups that have virtually no members. They represent very few people, but they've got a few big donors. Some people have said some of, a lot of those are overseas ones. I don't know, but they've just got a few big donors, and that's it. They try and hold a press conference, and you could hold it in a phone booth. So it's really, perhaps, guys, your influence is waning a little because you can only yell fire in a movie theater so many times, and people realise that, with a couple of million Australians out there owning and using firearms safely every day, and the very low level of firearms crimes and accidents that we see is a testament to you guys out there of being responsible firearm owners and users. And people respect that farmers, pest controllers, competitors, collectors, hunters, that they all have legitimate uses for firearms. They know they're not running around. Yes, there's a small minority that really dislikes us, and there's a small minority like us that really, likes guns and shooting and stuff. Most people in the middle are reasonably fair-minded. So we're having the wins, just look at that, and we've got this federal election coming up. Once again, take a look at who you really want to vote for, and my suggestion would be put one of the minors first that's a little more friendly to regional or firearm related issues, and that would be the Cadet Party, the One Nation Shooters and Fishers, or Liberal Democrats, and some great independents are running around the country. So have a look, see where you are. Or if you've got a local politician who's a member of a major party but really stands up against the party position on things in the way you like, maybe vote for them. But just remember, if you put them second, any of the majors second, you do withdraw money from them. So have a great one. Fantastic, once again, result in New South Wales, and fantastic to see people releasing a report from Gun Control Australia and Get Up and claiming it to be unbiased. I mean, I think even some anti-gun people rolled around a little and chuckled on that one. It'd be kind of like us releasing a report, saying something great about guns. I don't think it'd get a lot of traction. They get traction because, well, I think many in the media sympathise with them, but I think we all know better. Have an absolutely great one. Thank you.